All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Amir's Anecdotes. Today, I have a wonderful guest coming all the way from South Africa. Thankfully, I don't have an actual in-person studio, so we're doing this remotely, as are we doing all of the episodes of Amir's Anecdotes. So, Carol, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Amir. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. My name is Carol Kabaale. As you said, I live in Cape Town. I am originally from Cuba, but I've made South Africa my home. And a little bit about myself, I help coaches build really like an ecosystem for their ads. So I help them with meta ads and everything else that comes in between. Other fun facts about me, which you'll learn along the way, is that I like wine. I have a little dog named Charlie. He's a little Boston Terrier. I love him.
Nice.
And I and I fell in love with my high school sweetheart. So I'm kind of like met the first guy I met and married him, and now I'm just ticking boxes.
That's great. Good for you.
So-
And
and I've
and
been
how old are
doing
you
this
now?
marketing thing. I am 32, 31. Sorry. I'm going to be
Wow.
32 in
How
June.
how long have you been married?
6 years, but I met my
Wow.
husband when I was 15.
Incredible. Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Wow.
we kind of dated for 9 years. And then he proposed. I always make the joke that he was waiting to see what my blood type was before he asked me. I think he got it. And then he was like, okay, I can marry her. And
That's
then,
great.
yeah, we've been married for 6 years. We only have our little Charlie, but hopefully one day we'll add what I like to call a tiny human to our group.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people they like have the dog as if it's like practice to have a kid, and I can tell you from having kids, they're not the same at all. There's no practice. No, it's like riding a bike to help you swim. It's two totally different skill sets.
Oh my word. Okay, well, let's see how we go.
Yeah, I know how to ride a bike. I don't know how to swim, so that didn't help.
Oh, can I just tell you something? You should like really try and like last year, long story short, I went swimming somewhere. I've always known how to swim, but I went swimming somewhere and a boat nearly drove over me. Like I nearly died, like no joke. My husband actually came and saved me. And I developed a fear of the ocean. And I actually went
Oh,
back to school to learn to swim. And I spent the whole of
huh.
last year doing that. And it was really empowering. So I was there with people just like yourself who don't know how to swim. And it was so empowering to watch people develop those skills. Mentally, you can apply that lesson to anything in life, whether it's business or just yourself. It was great. So I encourage you, go try it out. It was brilliant.
I believe you, and I just it's not really important to me. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. That's also
I,
valid. That's also
Yeah,
valid.
it's fine. And also, like, I have to be bad at something, you know? It's gotta be something I just can't figure out, you know? Uh, so,
I
all
love
right,
that.
so you've got Charlie, the dog with the human name. You've got
Hmm.
your husband that you've been with for 15 years, more,
Correct.
17
Yeah.
years. It's
More,
crazy.
17 years. Yeah.
That's crazy. Uh, but incredible. And you're in South Africa and you're from Cuba and you do marketing for
Yes.
small businesses and for coaches. So that's incredible. That's a really cool story. How'd you get into marketing?
So I had a very traditional upbringing as my parents are immigrants. So went to school, went to university, got a degree. I got a BCom degree in hospitality management. And then I went on to work for Hilton in business development. So I worked for them for, I think, like 5, 6 years. No, not five, like 3 years, 3 years in business development. And I loved it. I loved the people, the
Okay.
culture, the experiences. I hated the job. I
Oh,
hated
yeah.
it. And back then, I was so burnt out. I was so tired. I was just like, I wanted a way out. And funny enough, when I tell the story of my husband proposed and that I had a moment of clarity, I was like, I can't keep being in this business of hospitality, of working in this environment, because you live past people. And I didn't want that to be
Yeah.
my life, right? So when
Yeah.
everybody's on vacation, I'm at the hotel, I'm at the office, and it's just not what I wanted to do. So I tried to figure out with the skill sets that I had, how can I make it better? How can I transition into something else? So I went and I did another certification in marketing. And then I realized within doing that extra course that I really liked the numbers. funny enough. And I know this
Huh.
show is all about numbers, which is weird
Yeah.
because I know we will get to the juicy bits of the debt. So we will talk about that.
Yeah.
But I
Sure.
liked
Sure.
the data. I liked the data part of it. And that's what I wanted to do. So I quit my job. I didn't tell anybody.
Wow.
And I went and I moved from my house. I used to live in Cape Town and I moved to Johannesburg with my husband. And I said to him, "Oh, they're just letting us work remotely." This is before COVID. So he was like, they're just letting you work remotely. It was so foreign to him. And I was like, yeah. Just here doing things on my computer. And that's how that was like 9 years ago coming to it when I started my agency. And it was hard, but I'm still here and I'm proud of everything that I've built. So that's how we got here.
Wow. So 9 years ago, you started your marketing agency. So you started this when you were 21.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And so you're 21 and you had the gall to just pack up your husband and move him to the other side of the country?
Well, we lived separately. I worked in one
Ah,
town and he worked in, so again, that's when I had that big realization that I couldn't keep living like this. Like if I was
right.
going to be in marriage and this is something that I thought was important to me, I had to move, I had to change. I was like,
Yeah,
no, this is not what I want.
I like that. You have to start the marriage with a lie and moving to a new town.
I love it. It's the
It's
perfect
great.
way. I mean, it's worked for us. We're like 17 years in. So if you're looking to get married, follow my instructions.
That's it. Move, trick them into moving by lying about your occupation. That's the trick.
There we go. There we go. Make sure they think you still have a job and they will propose.
It's great. So, so what an arc, right? So you tried the corporate America thing, or not corporate America, corporate South Africa thing. Granted, for an
Yes.
American company, Hilton, and didn't like it, right? So then you go get a dish. You skilled up, and I think that's a really cool thing. A lot of people do that where they have the passion, but they're not willing to go get the education to follow that passion. And so I think that's really cool. You stopped, took a deep breath, got the education, did the additional coursework, fell in love with marketing, and then started your own agency with, dare I say, a very American entrepreneurial spirit. Uh, and and now you're 9 years in, and so and still 9 years later, still no human babies, but that's a separate thing. I'm not your parents, but I'm sure they're complaining about the
Oh,
lack of grandkids.
oh my gosh. Every day. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they want. Like, they spent their whole life telling people, like, telling me personally not to get pregnant. And now it's like in my head, I'm like, just give me a moment. I'm working through it. Sometimes I forget I'm a grown up. Okay. I forget I'm an
Yeah,
adult.
that's right. My wife says that all the time. She's like, "No, I'm a grown up," and I'm like, "I know you're not because you're saying grown up instead of adult."
Yes, I'm a grown up. I'm a
Yeah,
big person. I know
yeah.
exactly what I'm doing.
uh, so when you think back on like this arc of your life, right? What comes to mind when you think about the most stressful financial position that you've been in?
Oh, it definitely had to be the first time I was out on my own as an adult, if you can call it that.
Hmm.
So, from when I graduated university until basically, I would say 3 years into my business. So, that was like maybe 5 or 6 years of my life where I was just in debt. Like I'm gonna give you
Really?
numbers now, but like yeah, but I was just in debt, and I've done a lot of mindset work around this, and I've figured out that it came from two main places. I take ownership of it. I did it. I spent the money, but
Yeah.
another big part of it came from I never had any financial help. Really,
Mm,
I had parents who money came in and money went out, and we didn't really
sure.
speak about it. So I had this I just thought money was endless, right? Like there was always more
Mm,
money, which is a
right.
bad thing to have. And when you give like an 18-year-old credit, which I find so bizarre looking back on it now that the bank gave me so much credit, it was crazy because I was like, I had this credit card and I would just swipe for this money that would come in my
Yeah.
head. And that really snowballed. And then I decided, like I told you, I quit my job. So I had no savings at this point. I only had, yeah, I had only my retirement money. And I was always told, don't touch that. So I didn't touch it. It's still sitting in like my retirement fund account. So again, all I had was credit cards. And then I went and I did this course, this additional course. So that at the time, just so you know, at the time, I'm going to like work it out for you in dollars so that we can speak in one language.
Sure.
Hold on, USD. So when I was working at Hilton, I made about, hold on, about like just under $1,000, right? A
For the
month.
year? Oh, the month. Okay.
For the month, for the month. Okay. So again, I'm not in, it might seem like ridiculous for some people, but that's kind of like salary wise over here. Like that was an okay salary. Then I went
Okay.
and did that course, right? And that course was, it was like 36,000. So that was like $3,000.
Wow.
So I went and got myself into more debt to do that course. And then I
Yeah.
decided to open my own business and everything that came with it. So building a website, hiring people. So by the time all of it, I was in about like close to $20,000 in debt.
Wow. So,
And at the time when I started my business, I was doing something ridiculous. Like I would charge people like $300 for my service. So I was not going to clear that debt anytime soon.
geez. So
Yeah,
it. I'm googling it just so I can have some more
yeah,
context. So,
yeah.
and tell me if this is wrong. The average salary, uh, in South Africa for like the average person is going to be around 25,000 for the
Rand.
year. Rand, yeah, 25,000 Rand for the year. And so, which is approximately like $1,400 a month.
Correct. So I
Uh,
was already on, because remember, I was in an entry level job when I
yeah,
started, and I was like a little bit above. I had two promotions very quickly. So I scaled really quickly in my corporate
yeah,
job in any case. So I was already on the upper end of that. I was nearly close to hitting, the
right.
average.
And
So by those standards, I wasn't doing bad by a 21
no,
year old
so,
standard.
no, 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 not all. So if the average salary across the whole country is 1,500 a month, 1,400 a month, and you're making 1,000, that's that's great. So to contextualize that for the American listeners,
Yeah.
that's back of the napkin math. That's like, the median salary in America is like $70,000 a year. And as a 21-year-old, you're making like 55,000. Like you're right there, just under median, but like no
Yeah.
kids, like very young. It's fine for you to have
Yeah.
that much money.
Correct. And everything that came
Wow.
in went out.
Yeah.
You know that Ariana Grande song that says, "I see it, I like it, I buy it." It was me.
Yeah.
It's like she saw me and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna write that song
Yeah.
for Carol."
And so, wow. So you're making just shy of the average salary for your country, and you have $20,000 in debt, which I assume is like what, 200,000 Rand of debt?
Yeah, it was like basically I like to equivalent it because I had to do this the one day. I basically had an apartment worth of debt. I had a
Oh my
home
God.
worth of debt. And I
That's
didn't own a
insane.
home. I was renting. I was very fortunate because I was given a car at 18, so I didn't have car payments, but I had to pay insurance. I had to pay maintenance on the
Yeah.
car, upkeep on the car, everything in the house, obviously, like just being.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
still had to live, and I had all this debt.
And in America, like most people have debt and credit cards. In South Africa, I assume it's going to be more similar, like a lot of the rest of the world, where like it's rare to have that much in credit debt.
Yeah, it is. It is very rare, especially so young. But I don't know who made the error at the bank, but they just kept giving me credit and I just kept taking it. And then I had
Jeez.
the system where I would pay this credit card with this credit card and this credit card with that credit card and then that would help me
Mm-hmm.
do this and then my salary would come in and then I would put a little bit in everything and everybody would restart. Like it was like looking back on it now, it was very exhausting, but it
Yeah.
worked. It was like I always had money in inverted commas.
Sure. It's so in America, people do this similar thing where they open up like they'll go to Target or Macy's, open the store credit card, get a bunch of stuff. It has like a promotional 0% interest rate, and
Mm,
they're like, "Oh, the money will come in. I'll pay this off," and then they don't get the money to pay it off. So then they open a new
yeah.
card and they do the balance transfer, and then they do the balance transfer,
Mm,
and they keep doing this cycle of credit cards until eventually the bank stops approving new cards.
yeah. And I'm so sure I was going to hit that eventually, because I just kept thinking, oh, no, it's fine. Once I get like to a certain amount, I'll just pay it all off, like one big lump sum. That was like my magical thing that I
Yeah,
thought was going to happen. That was never going to happen.
jeez. Yeah, so you had, just to summarize, we changed currencies in the
Yes, sure.
conversation. So
Sure.
So you made the rough equivalent of,
Hmm.
if you were in America, like a $60,000 salary a year as a
Correct.
19-year-old, and
Yeah.
racked up roughly $20,000 to $30,000 of credit card debt, like half a year's wages in credit card
Yeah.
debt, which also like goes farther in South Africa. Like that's enough money to have bought a house.
Correct. Yes.
In
Yes. I would have bought a whole apartment with that money, literally.
wild. And you didn't
Yeah.
tell your husband about this at all?
I didn't tell anybody about it.
Wow.
No one knew. No one knew. Like it was, it was like a dirty little secret. It was like, I just thought like I would figure it out. I would figure it out
Sure.
and I would just keep quiet about it. And I just had to make money. That's what my brain said to me. Eventually, this having a business thing will sort itself out, and I will just get a huge amount of money, and I will just clear the deck, and that's going to be me. And that's what I kept clinging on to.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure technically that counts as like marriage abuse or marriage fraud to like rack up that much debt and not tell your spouse.
Well, I did have to tell him. I will be honest with you. I did have to
Oh,
tell
you
him
did
because
eventually.
when we, no, obviously I had to tell him. But when we got married, we have a prenup. So
Ah,
in it, obviously, I had to disclose like what I have and what I don't. And then that's when he was like, "How did you do this?" And I was like, "I don't know.
oh,
I just,
man.
just sort of did it." And my husband is kind of
Yeah.
like you. He's really good with money, so he just
Right.
couldn't understand how I did this. He was like,
Right.
How?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just sort of did it."
Jeez. Wow. Okay. So at its highest point, all of the debt was,
Hmm.
call it in dollars, $20 to $25,000. Right.
Correct.
Um, what was kind of the turning point, that trigger point where you were like, I got to do something. I have to change my behavior.
So it really happened when I spoke to my husband about it, like when we started, this whole thing of getting married.
Mm,
And he was like, "What are you going to do about this?" And I was like, honestly, I didn't think it was a problem, to be like completely honest
mm,
with you. I didn't think it was a problem. I just was like, "What do you mean? I'm going to do what I've been doing. I'm paying it off. It's not like I owe people money." And he was like, "No, this is a real problem." And then he like sat me down and he explained to me like interest and like monthly fees and all these extra things that I had never even thought about. And I was like, "What?"
jeez.
I thought it was just this. And he's like, "No, there's all these other things." So we kind of sat together and he was like, "Okay, let's make a plan." And I hate budgets. I hate things like that. Like talking about finances actually used to give me anxiety. So what we ended up doing is we used to do it in like micro little doses. And I know it sounds so weird, but like we would sit for 15 minutes and that's like all I could take. And then I'd be like, "Okay, I have to go do something else. Like I have to go watch TV. I got to be on my phone. Like I can't
Wow.
keep looking at a spreadsheet," because it gave me literal anxiety. I was like, "I don't want to deal with it." That's how bad it was. But repetition is key with everything in life. You don't go to the gym once and get a six pack. So
Sure.
you don't just look at a budget once and then become, okay with what you've done and your financial situation. So repeating this action all the time actually made me feel more comfortable, to the point that like we now have in our marriage all the time, we have like not even monthly, weekly meetings where we talk about like, what are we
Wow.
doing, what are we saving, what's going on, right?
You must hate
And
that.
the I don't. That's what I'm trying to say. I
Oh,
don't. I used to hate it. It used to be something that I dreaded, and now I'm like, huh, not so bad. right? Not so bad at all.
Yeah.
Because once I understood what I had done and I realized, okay, this is an actual problem, because until we
Yeah.
clear this, we cannot move forward. Like any plans of us owning a house or us, changing
Hmm.
cars or going on a vacation or having tiny humans cannot happen until this is cleared. And
Right.
now I've made my problem his problem because he's married to me, right?
Right.
So even if he wasn't like linked directly to the debt, I mean, I'm his wife. Like he can't just let me be there. I mean, he could, but he didn't. Shame. He
Sure.
didn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we made a plan and we made a budget. And I got very strict on what I could and couldn't do. And it was very hard. I also identified I'm a very emotional and impulsive shopper. That's something about
Hmm.
myself. And I've also identified that first thing in the morning is my weakest time. When I'm
Mm.
scrolling in the morning and I see those ads, it's so
Yeah.
easy for me to just be like, it got so bad, Amir. I'm actually thinking about it now. I knew my credit card number off by heart. I didn't even need to go find the card. I knew it. I knew the expiry code. I knew the CVV. I was just like typing it in. Do, 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 do. Like, so that
And
was our plan. Yeah, go, go, go.
it's funny too because you work in marketing and all these ads just worked on you perfectly.
Yes, I knew what they were doing and I still fell for it. Um,
Oof.
I just felt like, do you know what it really, when I look back on it as another layer of it is that there was a void of me that felt like there was imposter syndrome. Like, I
Mm.
don't know enough. When I look at also some of those purchases I did, especially for my business, like I bought a lot of courses, I participated in a lot of
Mm.
masterminds and a lot of fluff. And those things are because I felt that I didn't have enough qualifications, but I had a qualification. I went and did the course. So why didn't I feel,
Yeah.
and I was getting good results for my clients. So it was more of a, no, no, I just need to continue. And
Mm.
that in itself, there'll always be another course. There will always be another program.
That's
There'll
right.
always be another something software that you can buy to make your business more effective. And I just kept falling into that loop. Oh, if I have it, we'll be more successful. Oh, if I buy it, it will be this.
Yeah.
And looking back on it now, it's like, no, we can't do that.
So it's interesting that you bring that up because I think there's another phenomenon that's kind of adjacent to that. It's called like Peter Pan syndrome. So the story of
Mm-hmm.
Peter Pan is that he's in Neverland with all these kids, and you never grow up in Neverland. You're always a kid, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of adults in their 30s have what we call Peter Pan syndrome, and a lot of that is a function of how education changed 30 years ago. So there are a lot of
Okay.
people where, like generations ago, what they would do is they would save up and they would go to university or they would work while they went through university, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now what people are doing is they're going to get like the bachelor's degree, and then they're like, well, I'm not ready to be an adult, so I'm going to go get a master's degree. And then they get the master's degree and they say, all right, I'm not ready to be an adult, so I'm going to go do additional coursework. And then they're never ready to
Oh,
be an adult, so then they keep doing additional education. And then they finally enter the workforce at, 29 or 32 years old with no experience other than academics. And
imagine.
it's it's part of that Peter Pan syndrome is they always look at themselves as a kid and a student instead
Mm-hmm.
of furthering their education as a function of like starting their career or starting their life because we've separated academia and quote unquote the real world.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's a part of me. That's you've just described that whole period, and there's a part of me. I was just like, if I carry on doing this, then I don't really have to focus on everything else. I'll just be like doing my course, I'll be doing this, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
bettering myself. I don't have to think about,
Yeah.
the responsibilities that life actually throws at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what how old were you when your husband finally sat you down to like address the debt?
Um, it was just before we got married, so it must have been like 34. No, not 24. No, it can't be 20, 25, 26. Yeah, 25.
25, 26. So you racked
Yeah,
up effectively an apartment's worth of debt between 21 and 26.
correct. Yes. Yeah, that actually
Yeah.
sounds right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And now you're 32 and
Yeah.
what do your numbers look like now?
So they look really good. I can officially say I'm debt free. I'm very proud of that
Nice.
actually. I'm debt
Congratulations.
free. Thank you. We actually also last year we paid off our house, which was the other big thing. We don't own on
Wow.
our cars. What we are saving for now is a bigger house because, like I said, I want tiny humans.
Yep.
So I need more space for them. They
Right.
require
Right.
stuff.
Right. Right.
So anyway, I need space for
Wow.
them.
Congratulations.
So yeah, I would say we are pretty comfortable. In my business as a whole, last year we did our first six figures
Wow.
year, which is really good. I am very proud of that. Can I just tell you something? Like when I saw it, I thought he was lying because my husband and our tax person, like they
Yeah.
like each other. All of them, they're always talking. I'm just there like, okay, when do you need me at the meeting? And when they told me, I actually said to them, you're lying. I said, it can't be because I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I'd made six figures. I just felt like I worked.
Yeah.
Um,
Six figures
but yeah,
in
I
South
did.
African rand, right?
No, in US. So all
Oh
my clients
wow.
are US client. All my clients are US clients.
Got it. So you made
So
$100,000, which is like, if my math is
yeah,
right,
it's
well, like 2 million rand. Is
over
that
a
right?
million. Yeah, over a million.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Good for you.
yeah.
That's great.
Thank
I mean,
you.
that's more than the American average salary too. And you're in South Africa where like everything's so much
It
cheaper.
goes a
That's
lot further.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it goes a lot further. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you
Congratulations.
want to move? Do you want to come here?
I don't know. Um, so one of my favorite comedians is Trevor Noah, who grew up in South
Oh,
Africa, and I've read his memoir. It was incredible.
mm,
Born a
yes.
Crime by Trevor Noah is incredible, and he talks about having a white dad in South Africa, but obviously this is still during apartheid and all that. And
Yes.
my wife is like very very white, and so I don't know if South Africa is like the perfect place for mixed
Oh,
race
it's
couples still.
no, it's fine. It's fine. You guys will be fine. Like in the book, obviously he's talking about a very certain period of time. That period
It was
like
like 30
ended
years
in
ago.
30 years ago, like 1993. So, I mean, you get racist people everywhere. So you
Hmm.
might find one or two. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you they aren't racist people here, but you guys
Sure.
would be fine, especially if you lived like in Cape Town. It's like very cosmopolitan here. So I
Mm.
think you'd really enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I do go to New Hampshire every once in a while, where it's like one of the whitest towns I think in America, and I go with my wife, and people stare at us there too. So
You know, they'll always there. That's what they do. It's what they
that's
like
all
to
right.
do.
Yeah, they only stare if we're holding hands. If we're walking next to each other, it's fine. But holding hands apparently is the thing that really
Oh,
gets them all riled
I
up.
hope you guys I hope you hold hands all the time. I wish you
Oh
would.
yeah, absolutely we do. So okay, so how long did it take you to pay off the specifically the credit card debt? How long did it take you to pay that off?
The credit card debt. So the thing that really helped me is so my husband he's also he's a engineer, he's a civil engineer.
Hmm.
So he was doing pretty well. And again, he had savings. So what we ended up doing is he paid everything off, right?
Mm.
But he didn't give me a blank check. I mean, I don't want anybody to think like, oh, her husband just came and like helped her with all her
Yeah,
debt.
right.
No,
We don't want the
no,
moral of the story to be like have a rich husband, and that's how women can get
no,
out of debt. That
no. The moral of the story is find someone who is going to support you and have your back when you're in
right,
this hole, right? But he wanted me to learn this lesson, which I needed to learn it because if not, I was just going to do it again.
right.
So, in essence, my husband became my bank.
Mm.
So instead of me having to pay the bank back, I now paid my husband back.
Yep.
And it was
And did he
very
take your credit
strict on
cards?
like, yes, he took my credit cards. We closed them down. I actually have one credit card, but it has like the balance on it is so ridiculous. And the only reason I have it is because it gives me airport lounge access, and I really like going to the airport lounges.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have it. I do have one credit card, but it's for that purpose.
Sure.
The rest are all gone. And then, yeah, we came up with a budget, and it really helped for me personally. It helped to get kind of like I didn't owe the stranger, I now owed him. And because it was
Mm.
him, and I guess not I guess, I know, because I love him and because he's my partner, I was like, I can't like cheat him out of money. So it actually became like,
Mm,
how can I pay him back sooner? And it became a
right.
priority for me, right? So
Yeah.
I put more effort into my business. I started, that's another thing. I used to struggle with my pricing and I was undercharging ridiculously.
Mm,
And I finally increased my numbers, and that also helped. And then
right.
I learned to really be very efficient with a small amount of money. I
Yeah.
still got my hair done, my nails done, and like little things, little treats. But the rest of it was like going to pay it off. So that was very helpful.
Right.
And I did that, I think, in a year and a bit, in a year and a half, I
Wow.
had managed to pay it off. It's incredible, right?
Wow.
Like when you put your mind to
Yeah.
something. We also like stopped doing a lot of things. Like we stopped going out to eat. We didn't really
Right.
buy new clothes. We made a lot of sacrifices. But after like that year and a half, it was like all worth it because we didn't have that looming over us. I didn't have
Right.
that looming over us. Yeah.
Right. So if there's someone listening in who is
Hmm.
in that point that you are in, where they have a apartment's worth of credit card debt, what
Yes.
I would have told you if you had hired me back then, putting my financial advisor hat on, is I would have talked to you about, setting up systems for this because managing money is very difficult. It's not like
Hmm.
back in the day when we would like have barter with chickens and goats or wheat and barley, right? Or even cash.
Yeah.
Cash is easier because you run out of cash. And the problem with credit cards is
Mm.
everything is one swipe, right? And so you actually lose
Yes.
track very easily of what things cost. Um, and so what I do now is I like create these diagrams for my clients. Yeah, if you're on the audio only version of the podcast, you're not going to be able to see what I'm showing. But what I show people often is, if you have two paychecks as husband and wife and it goes into a joint account, you automate your expenses, right? The car note, your student loans, your
Mm.
debt, and then set up a separate fund account, which in my household we call it the allowance account. And then this money you can use however you want, completely
Hmm.
guilt free. And it's a very small amount of money, but it's so that you can spend whatever you want guilt free, and it still scratches that itch of being like allowed, quote unquote, to spend your money how you see fit, and then you automate whatever you're going to put away into your investments and your emergency fund and things like that. Or if you're against joint accounts for whatever reason, you set it up where each spouse has their own personal account and then agrees to transfer a specific amount of money into a joint account together to pay all of their joint obligations, and that still leaves
Hmm.
you with leftover money here uh, to spend as you see fit.
Oh, I love that. Where were you,
And
Amir? That's what I'm saying. Where were you? People need to go and find Amir, guys.
well, if you're listening in on this and you've ever struggled with credit card debt or you are currently, um, watch the YouTube version of this episode because the diagrams that I'm sharing, I think they've helped a lot of people kind of create a workflow on how to spend in a way that isn't detrimental to their life, right? It's almost like a diet, right? You can be work really, really hard at the gym, but you do need a day of rest, right? Or you need to allow yourself
Yes.
to have your birthday cake, right? So how do you do that with money without overspending? It's budgeting, but also automating it. We have technology to help us. And unless you live in an environment where you're strictly on cash, you need to leverage the technology that exists to help you budget because it's not intuitive anymore.
Oh, true. I also loved how you said like having physical cash because I also that also helped me, to be quite honest. Seeing money just
Yeah,
leave is weird. It's weird. It's like, where did it
yeah,
go? I had so
yeah,
much of it.
yeah,
Where is it
absolutely,
now? Right?
absolutely.
Especially when you take out really big amounts and you have to go and like pay bills with it and you're like, wow, this is a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's something I read somewhere once that said it's imagining 5 grains of rice on a table is very easy, right? 10 grains of rice is easy, but then you start to lose track because there are grains of rice all over
Hmm.
the place. The maximum that you can actually visualize accurately is around 20, which is funny because that's how many fingers and toes we have. Above that, it's totally abstract. We actually couldn't visualize a million grains of rice. You have no idea what it looks like.
No. I don't know, probably a pile of something, but I can't
Right.
visualize each of them. It's just, I don't know, like a mountain, I
No.
guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Even 100 probably can't visualize. Right.
No,
And that's
no.
how money works. It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's a thank you. I needed that today. I like that.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
thank you for sharing your story, and hopefully someone else who's listening to this and struggling with debt, struggling with credit cards, struggling with everything costing one swipe. I hope you're inspired by Carol's story, and that you can also buckle down and create some infrastructure and stop hiding your debt from your spouse, and make sure your spouse supports you in your debt management struggles and woes. So, Carol, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. If anyone wants to reach out to you, either for marketing purposes or just to learn more about South Africa, how can they reach out to you?
So thank you for that. Everywhere on the internet, my name is just Carol Kabaale. I'm sure it will be on the show notes, but if you are thinking of running Facebook ads, I have a free quiz. It's on my website. It takes 2 minutes and it shows you how ready you are to make that investment into running ads.
All right, great. Thank you so much.